Hello, Evelyn Kennedy here, and one of the most frequently asked questions on the forums is how to start with back carries. And so I want to do a video for your first back carry. I'm going to go over some of the things that I struggled with, and I'm going to go over some maybe tips to help you and just some things that I see that people do that sets them back. So, I already have a video up for Santa Toss, which is my favorite way to get a baby up, especially with a smaller baby, like a baby under 6 months. Daphne's just now getting to a size where I think I'm going to have to start supermanning her, so I'm going to show that in this video. The other option would be to hip scoot. So we'll have a kind of a separate series for the act of actually lifting the baby and putting them on your back, but I strongly recommend a Santa Toss if you are a beginner. So go ahead and check out that video first. So with a Superman, you put the wrap up on baby's shoulders and you just cross your arms in front of the baby's head like this, with one hand coming underneath the other hand and under the baby's arm, and this one coming over and on top of the shoulder. And then we can lift, and I'll just show how that looks. Started crossed, and then you just lift them onto your shoulder. So from here, just keep them up real high. I mean, she's taller than I am right now. And I'm holding her here just with this hand. The very first thing that people want to do when they're learning how to do back carries is do the whole back carry like this, because they're afraid their baby's going to fall. One, that's super uncomfortable. And two, your baby's going to try to push off of you, especially if they're older. So she might do it here if I give her a chance. But see how she's already trying to lift up? And what that does is it pulls your top rail, and it lets the baby pull your hair. It pulls your top rail, which really can set you up for failure for the whole rest of the wrap job. So don't do that. Stand up. And when I'm up here, I've got her with this hand here. You can see in the mirror there too. And the first thing you do is pull these top rails so tight, so that she's kind of squished in there. Yeah, you squished. And make sure that all your slack is coming over your shoulders, just so it's out of the way. A lot of times I see people doing their whole wrap job with their wrap out like that. Pull that up. Get it out of your way. And I'm going to put this in my teeth. You can put it under your chin. You can put it between your knees, whatever you're comfortable with. And I'll show you how to pull down the fabric and pull up and make a seat. So you'll notice there what I did was pull from between me and her. So going back this way in front of her legs and pulling up. Don't try and go from the back and tuck, because most people's arms don't go up that high. Some people's do. Sweet for you if that's the case. But this way you just have to reach around, kind of like if you can scratch your armpit, you can do this. It's just a little rotation. And just pulling that seat up. So when you're doing this, same thing. If you're doing this all bent over, she's still going to spend the whole time fussing and trying to pull up off of me. But if I stand up when I'm pulling her up into that seat, that helps sink her bottom down into it, keep all this fabric nice and tight, and then her own weight is what's holding her seat in place. So now we can go ahead and do a wrap. And so for the first carry, there's really depends on what your comfort level is as to where you're going to start. For me, I know that I didn't feel comfortable learning how to do behind the back passes without her being tied to me somehow. I was just not ready for that. So we're going to do secure high back carry, which starts off with a knot at the chest. So once I have her up here, I'm going to do a little bit of strand by strand tightening, which I hold my top rail and I just pull a couple inches over and make sure that all the slack is worked out. And there's not too much because we made a nice seat for her. But that would be a a place where you might pull her up maybe a little bit higher. I don't really do it on the bottom rail because my bottom rail is where? Up underneath her here. So if you pull that bottom rail, I usually tell people just don't even touch it. Like once you make your seat, don't touch your bottom rail because you're going to pull it out and it's going to frustrate you. So it's okay to have some slack in that bottom rail. Don't stress about it. So top rail really tight, bottom rail pretty loose. So I'm going to start with the chest knot. And so one pass has to come under my arm. So I'm going to hold this one in my knees. And then this, I just keep it pulled tight to my body. And go kind of slow and just pull it out. And then same thing, I'm going to do a little more strand by strand there. Just make sure she's tight. And keep this way up in your armpit. Don't be tempted to pull it down. You want it to be up high. We're thinking everything's high and tight all the time. So I'm going to do a knot at the chest here because then she'll feel really secure and safe. And when I do this, I can stand up and just pull. And to get it as tight as I feel like it needs to be, I just bounce. And I can get her up even higher every single time I do a bounce. Go back, check the seat, push the legs up, make sure we're good back there. And the first thing that we do in a secure high back carry is a shoulder flip. And I just take this and send it over my shoulder, so it's just whatever side is on the side that doesn't have a shoulder. Just send it up, and I will reach behind me and grab that. You can see that in the mirror very well. And just kind of spread it around this. Now this is really a pretty easy one because you can see it goes way up to her neck really easily just by pulling it out like this. I am going to check and make sure that there's a little bit of looseness here from the bottom rail. Kind of tucks here. And I've seen secure high back carry done both ways where, maybe you would do a pass that comes under her leg here. I am going to choose to do that, and I would recommend that you do that too if you're learning. The whole point is, making a beginner video, so having a pass that comes under their leg like this is going to reinforce your seat just that much more. And so she can't fall out the bottom now, no matter how bad your seat is. So that comes down under like that, and we're going to do, again, a little more strand by strand, or just tighten it up a little bit. And that, if I pull up on it, kind of gets caught underneath her leg, and it's pretty smooth there. Stay pretty snug. I'll also just sandwich it there, like near my arm. And then we take the other side, and now this one is a bunched pass. So it's going to teach, this carry is going to teach you a shoulder flip, a spread pass, and a bunched pass. A bunched pass would be like what you'd use in a ruck. So this one, we already have a shoulder on this side, so it comes under this way. And this just goes over her one leg. This is a really common wrap thing, just like in a front wrap cross carry. Over the first leg, under the second leg. And that again gives that another little cross reinforcing pass under her bottom so she's not falling through. And then you would just tie in front. And you do a double knot. This is size 4, so it's a little short. I think I probably eke one little tiny one out here. But that is a secure high back carry. And hopefully it gives you a comfortable place to start with. So just make sure when you do that first knot, you feel really secure, really tight. Top rail tight, bottom rail loose, really important. And just make sure that you've got a nice deep seat, and choose whatever way you like to get your baby on your back. Once they're up here, you can always reach back and kind of adjust, make sure everything's going okay. Always wrap in front of a mirror. Always wrap with a spotter at first, or standing over a bed, or you can wrap sitting on a couch. But I think having a mirror is more important than sitting on a couch, personally. So whatever's in your comfort zone, but hopefully that will give you a good starting point to learn how to get baby up on your back. Good luck!